If you have traveled overseas or abroad in recent years, you know how many rules and regulations there are for travelers today. There are rules about what you cannot pack in your carry-on and what you cannot put in your checked luggage, no weapons or anything that might be used as a weapon. There's a strict limit on fluids in your carry-on, only 3 ounces, and it should be in a plastic bag for them to see. Your carry-on has to be a certain measurement so that it could fit under your seat or in the storage area overhead. Your checked luggage cannot weigh more than 50 pounds. If it is, then you pay extra money. Still, with all these rules that have been in place now for a few years, there are people who don't get it. Go to the airport, people loaded with luggage, people who are bogged down at the airport, having to get rid of certain items, throw them away. Or if they're carrying too much, then they have to distribute clothing and stuff like that between several pieces of luggage. They're the ones who make life difficult for us, and they should be banned forever from anything else. Let's just say it's better to travel light these days. When Jesus sent out his disciples just to simply go perhaps for a few days into the neighboring villages, he laid down some rules of travel. Do not take gold, silver, or copper. No money. Don't take an extra bag, a sack of clothing or whatever. Don't take a second tunic. Don't even take sandals or a walking stick. I think what Jesus is trying to state is that there is a sense of urgency in proclaiming the gospel to people. The disciples were to be quick about spreading the word. They weren't to stop and have conversations with people along the way. They were not to get delayed by carrying too many things with them. And they were to rely almost completely on the hospitality and generosity of others. And if they were rejected, they weren't supposed to state their case or debate with people. They were simply to shake the dust from their feet if they were rejected and move on. Keep proclaiming the gospel. And so all of this really follows the kind of lifestyle that Jesus embraced, where he had no money on his person, really. He had only the clothes on his back. And he said, the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. So Jesus sets the example and then asks his disciples to follow suit. In a sense, I think this message should resonate with all of us, whether we're stay-at-home Christians or Christians who are working in the secular world or people of faith who are on the mission trail. We should be thinking about the lightest way to travel. We have to remember relationships that we establish in this life are more important than the things we accumulate. When we proclaim the gospel, and if we want to proclaim the gospel effectively, we can't be burdened by our possessions or by material things. Too often, our possessions can prevent us, or at least severely limit our ability to be free enough to proclaim the gospel and to live it. So today, we might ask ourselves, what is preventing us from living the gospel fully and authentically? Are we preoccupied with our material comfort? Are we attached to our possessions in such a way that we cannot live like Christ? And if we do have an abundance of earthly things, would we willingly step away from those things if the Lord asked us to do that? So in the end, we are pilgrims. We're on a journey. We're passing through this world. And we know that what we accumulate cannot be taken with us. We are to travel lightly, therefore, and not be worried or consumed by the things that can weigh us down.